Hello, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness, the highest levels of love light. I just want to talk a little bit about what I'm seeing in readings and experiencing in my own journey, and talk a little bit about what my guidance team is just sharing with me about all of this. So without further ado, one of the themes that I've been seeing coming up quite a bit, and actually I'll go into a little bit of flow also, so I might regroup. So I'm trying to just stay present, right? So I'm being guided just to go into a little flow. So maybe I'll share the collective experience next. We'll see how we go with this. So this is meant to be felt, not necessarily understood on a linear level. As we peel away from what it is that we have been stuck to, we see the wall behind us. We see that which we have come up against fading from our view, fading in the rear view, so to speak, mirroring past reflections that are showing up behind us. Yet, if we look back and continue to look back, we can feel as if they are following us, haunting us, constantly, I'm hearing berating us, like it's taunting. And that is another reason why we are being invited time and time again, over and over, to stop looking back, to stop looking behind what has already been, what has already been conceived, what has already been created, and that which is falling apart. I'm seeing a reference to, is it the city of Babylon, when Job's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. That which it is we think we have mistakenly become or forgotten, or that which it is the mistakes that we think we have made, have already been made. This is a play on words, like when you make, like somebody's undercover and it's been made. Like they can't be undercover anymore. Secrets can't be hidden anymore because they've already been exposed. So now the whole game has changed and shifted. We invite you to continue on your road less traveled, for you are constantly interfacing with the new face of reality. I'm seeing like the new face of everything, like everything has been resurfaced, everything has been like shifted and changed. And to even recognize when we look into the mirror, into this new mirrored reflection, as we recognize that the face that is looking back at us is no longer that which was. For as we change with the times, as we allow ourselves to flow into this new time, we recognize that all that has been is falling away, has already fallen. And so your focal points change and shift according to where you are, recognizing those feelings that you have. I'm seeing like something has created a rift for a lot of the collective, like perceived barriers, time constraints. There are things that have created this rift, and it's like that gap is closing. Rather than feeling like it's closing in on us, recognize that we're creating rifts to that which was behind us. We no longer need to feel like it's, I'm hearing, biting at our heels. For the more we can allow ourselves to be present, to allow ourselves to unfold, to flow into, I'm seeing like running water. Allow ourselves to be the river bank, to continue to add to our own value system, that which we have, banking on that which we have. I'm seeing like it's on our sides. We just have to invite it to come in. And we've been banking for far too long on those that are in our rear view, that are not holding the same view, that are not holding the same value view. So allowing ourselves to expand into this new view, into this new, it's like we're starting to see that a lot of what's been going on around us has no value. It's fake, it's fluff, it's poof, magic, right? So recognize that we hold the key. We are the magicians. We are the audience. We are creating the stage. So what is it that we're going to continue to watch? Are we going to look into our rear view mirror? And this is all a play on words. Like, what does a mirror mean? This self-reflection. Because when you look in the rear view mirror, you see not only behind you, but you see what it is that you think you are. And we all do this, right? So the message is come into this, the real self-reflection. So that is no longer of value for us in the same way that we once valued it. So we've basically come into such a new energy that if we can stop looking to the past and stop looking back and just allow ourselves to pick a new place to go to, pick a new drive, stop driving the same vehicle. Like, I'm seeing all of this has shifted and changed. And it just takes us to see that, right? To recognize that this has shifted and changed. So we're playing in this old game of this concept that we still think we're driving the same car. We still think we're on the same road. We still think those same things are behind us. But from a higher perspective, all of that has like been done. So, which is pretty exciting. We are being invited to stop following the same map and to recognize that what we are looking at, that is unfolding before us, that is presenting itself in a new way, assists us in establishing our new foundational principles, and to stop being waylaid by those things that are nipping at our heels. These can be in the form of, I'm seeing like judging ourselves, self-judgment, blame, shame, fear, anger, even revenge. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people are still feeding into like revenge, or and that is essentially, when you want revenge on something, that is actually taking you into the past. It's taking you back a step. And while these are all feelings and associations that we have with our mapping system, our entrainment, we are being invited to explore new terrain, to train ourselves in a new field of, I'm being invited to play with the word retribution, like tribunal, trifecta, like thinking of retro, like we're bringing back old energy if we keep focusing on it. And part of us stepping into a higher dimension or less density means letting that shit go. And it's not like we have to ignore it, and it's not like it wasn't there at one time, but we can literally, with a snap of a fingers, see a new game unfold in front of us and play with, I'm seeing the reference to 6-minute abs versus 7-minute abs, if you guys haven't seen Something About Mary. And we're playing you're playing in cheddar time when it's clearly brie. I don't really know what he's saying for sure, but it's just, I'm just seeing this like people are playing in this old energy. And it's like in that scene from the movie when the guy's like, when I forget all their names, when the main character in Something About Mary goes, what about if somebody comes out with 6-minute abs? And the crazy guy's like, freaks out, like his head starts clicking and he goes, no, you can't get 6-minute abs, only 7 minutes. Like, I'm seeing this as a huge play on words, like, or metaphor. Like, people are so stuck in this pattern, in this map, in only following in this course that they're missing the bigger picture and they're not recognizing. And we've all done this at times, right? We all get stuck in a groove. So there's this, I'm being shown a record and it's like the scratches on the record. Are we going to keep playing those same scratches? Are we just going to say, all right, that record has served its purpose and it was amazing, but I am moving on? Or I'm going to create, it's like I'm hearing creating new grooves to get into a higher groove. We can't keep going back and forth when we're trying to get up here. Like, you can't keep playing out the same things over and over again. We can, if we want to. It's our freedom of choice, right? And so as we quit spinning our wheels, as we recognize that the wheels are moving in a different direction, as we recognize that our expansiveness is here, unfolding now, moment to moment, at our fingertips, we give ourselves the opportunity to expand into more and more opportunities for discussion, conversation, expansion, creation. And in doing this, we create from the expansive field of resilience, of reconciliation, and this is all a play on words. Like, if I'm going to have to go back and write this down and break out the words, because what this does is this new form of this, if we can feel into how expansive the energies are right now, it allows us to communicate not only with our bodies in a different way, not only to communicate with each other on a different way, but also to communicate with our higher aspects and our guides. And, this kind of started, I guess I am going to bring this back in. This kind of started with me talking about this movement of us wanting our galactic brothers and sisters to fully be disclosed, for them to show up. There's a huge movement right now about this. And my guides were showing me that even that is a distraction, if that is the only thing we're focusing on. To recognize that they are here with us, within us. And the more we wake up or expand into, and I see waking up as waking up. And now I wake up. And I wake up again. And I just woke up again. It's moment to moment. It's not like it's just this one moment. And from that point, everything, yes, it is a one moment to moment to moment where everything is different. And now everything is different. And I had this aha, so this is different. And if we're constantly recognizing that, when there is a movement, and let's say our galactic brothers and sisters come up, we're going to be in a completely different space, emotionally, physically, in understanding, so perception, that it'll completely change the experience that we have, let's say, around that particular projection. And I say this because what my guides have been sharing is there's a lot of us that are still hanging on to these past notions. Like, I've been a healer my whole life, and the only thing I know are tarot cards. And that's an example of, yes, that's been helpful and it's been expansive, but there's more. And it's okay to try something different. And that is a groove. We know it so well that it's there comes a point when sometimes that can hinder our expansiveness because we're hanging on to, and what I'm hearing is our old cards. Like we had this beautiful hand, this royal flush, and we're like, that's it, we're out, we're never playing again because it was such a good hand. I can't go back and play again because I may not ever get that hand again. And some people are so caught up on, let's say, for example, disclosure. The question that has been coming up that I've been seeing in the collective is, all right, we're having it. It isn't happening in the same way that we expected it to happen. So what now? And what now? And the other question is, what happens when we do get full disclosure? What then? Everything will be different. Everything is different because we're all changing and expanding and activating into a higher resonance. So while instead of waiting and hanging on to concepts and ideas that we've had, it's hard to explain. It's almost like I'm seeing that rear view mirror. It's not just looking on our past relationships or our past jobs or what we could have been or what we could have had or why isn't this happening the way that I thought it would happen. That's all behind us. It's also the concept of our future, because this old version of us, right, is what we were basing our future off of. Does that make sense? So they're kind of showing me that, for example, we graduated college and our degree was in economics. And we had this whole idea mapped out in front of us. And we look back and say, well, I could have done this in college. Or let's say we put ourselves in the rear view mirror and looking forward, those were the goals that we had back then. So our future projections are now skewed or not as expansive as they could have been, which might be a better word to use, right? Or line of words to use. And so our view looking forward is we're basing it off of our past projections. So we're being invited to just let all that go. Or recognize that none of that is on the same timeline anymore. We've entered a new timeline. So who are we right now? And it might be that it's time to let go of these other ideas, expectations, thoughts, and concepts that were based on the road we were on before. So looking back, they might have been 100% accurate, but now it isn't the same way at all. So it's okay to take that and maybe we're going to shift it now into a different reality, if that makes sense. I see it in my mind's eye. It's hard to bring words into it sometimes because I'm shifting quickly as well. And so even the teaching style or readings that I'm doing has completely, not completely, but at times in certain moments, depending on who I'm working with, has completely changed. And that can be challenging for those of us that identify with the word healer or intuitive or fill in the blanks. That has shifted for many of us. And we're still kind of finding our footing, so to speak. But my guides are like, don't worry about finding your footing. Be grounded, anchor in the frequencies coming in, and be more fluid. And it'll just come, right? If you build it, they will come, that whole field of dreams, because we are literally building our reality moment to moment to moment because we're learning or we're recognizing how to be more present in every given moment. And we're less likely to sit here and say, well, I need to do it this way because that is what I've been trained to do. And from what I'm seeing is, no, we don't actually. We don't have to do it the same way that we thought we would have to do it at this point in our lives, or the way that we were taught. Or because I've experienced this trauma, I need to go through this, and this. That's looking at the past. That's looking in the rearview mirror. and telling us that we are who we are because of that. And that dictates the road that we're taking, the direction that we're taking, and the view that we have of what's in front of us. Because what I'm being shown is driving on the road and seeing certain road signs. And when you're driving and you're looking for an address, or we're looking for, let's say I'm headed to Disneyland, right? I know that all the signs are leading me to Disneyland. I might miss the other signs that might lead me to someplace else. I'm just using that as an example because I was so focused on getting to that particular place. Does that make sense? And so my perspective completely shifted. Just like when I'm in flow and I'm kind of paying attention to all of the synchronicities that are going on around me while I drive. If you guys have ever seen my driving videos, it changes and I see signs that I've driven past for years and they were never really in my view, or they've changed because I'm seeing things from a completely different perspective that is no longer based on who I was the last time I drove. Because in that moment, my focus has shifted. And what may have been just a regular sign that said dog, right, now represents to me serious, or the dog star, or maybe I need to pay attention to this dog that might cross my path, or whatever it might be. I have now moved into a more expansive change of focus that is no longer looking behind me or using that projection from that particular focus from 5 years ago or even 6 weeks ago. So just wanted to share that. I'm going to try to end this now, keep it short and sweet. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have fun creating and recognizing as these emotions come up, and as we recognize that things have shifted so drastically from even a week ago. It's okay to feel a little out of sorts, and it's okay. I'm really being encouraged to recognize when I am looking in my rearview mirror, and to honor that's okay that I was there. And that's okay that I'm having a moment where I feel like I've taken 2 steps back. Sometimes it takes us recognizing that in order to see that, ooh, this doesn't feel as good as I thought it would before, right? Now I don't want to head in that direction anymore. So now what I've done is I've acknowledged and recognized, and I'm able to see and shift much faster than I may have been able to completely tunnel visioned for my goal based on how I was feeling at that moment when I made that decision. So, and we could go into so many different layers on this. This is just one perspective right now that I'm sharing for the collective. And in love and light, namaste.